So, okay.
Let's get started.
It's the Pivot Point Podcast with Nnete and Vernique.
What are you doing because you want to do it? I'm ready. So, yeah.
We ready.
Money making moves.
I started speaking my mind and triple my views.
Period. She calls you.
Like, we need to pivot. We on our dream-ish.
So y'all know what that ish means.
Let's just start from the beginning, V. Meeting at the radio station, 97.9 The Box, H-Town, The Morning Show, right? So do you remember when we first met?
Not the exact day, but I do remember you thinking I was trying to steal your job.
Well, of course, nobody can steal my job, but I was like, who this chick? Who this? What's she trying to do? You know what I mean? Is she a friend or a foe? What's going on? But honestly, I also was like, yo, she a hustler. Like, like attracts like. And I think that's why I was always like kind of drawn to you. Cause I was like, she up here hustling. We were both working in the radio station in Houston, top 10 market. Neither one of us were studying communications.
Nope.
None of us was in media. I was in finance. At that time, were you political science still?
Yes, I was. Yeah, my degree is in political science. Yeah.
Well, I had a couple of different majors throughout my journey.
I
So I was like, "What's your
that.
major?" Huh?
I did not know that. I feel like it had always been finance. How have I known you for 17 years and I never know that you're
First of all, 17 years and we're forever 27. Okay.
Amen.
So, okay. Yeah. I started University of Girl, I'm Nigerian. I didn't start. I started as a theater major. And because I'm Nigerian and my parents was like, girl, what is wrong with you? And there was a very interesting conversation that had at the University of Houston School of Theater at that time with one of the heads and the counselors. And that was my first pivot, actually. Actually, it's my first pivot. It was. I talked to one of the counselors there because at that time they were not doing non-traditional casting. And in high school and everything, I did theater. Like I won Best Actress for my school district, playing a slave. Hey, that was the only roles. Hey, it was there.
They still giving out awards for those if you ain't heard.
A Woman Called Truth, they are. But it was a good story. And I was in a very mixed school district. And even when I finally got to star in that role, some of the parents were really, really upset because they were like, well, our kids ain't got time. Well, what about the roles for them? And my theater teacher at that time, I know, right? I saw that lip. I saw that lip. And it was real talk. And he held me down. And I'll always be so grateful for Mark Stoneberger, like my high school theater instructor. He was like, well, what do you think Nnete has to do? She has to wait every year because we don't do traditional casting. So this is something for her. I did drama camp and Stephen F. Austin, all kind of stuff. Go ahead.
So wait, I got a question. You don't have to explain for me what traditional casting is. Like I usually can catch on with like context clues, but I completely missed this.
You know what that means? White folk with white folk. No interracial dating.
I have a fun fact about that actually.
You said what?
I have a fun fact about traditional casting. In that. In the UK, I recently looked this up. In the UK, if you watch any British shows, which I watch a lot, I've basically probably seen them all. But if you watch those shows, they have a lot of non-traditional casting. They have a lot of like interracial couples, things like that. In the US, we don't see that nearly as often. Yet the percentage of interracial marriages or cohabitation in the UK is only 4%. Whereas in the US, it's like 14%. So, but that's only my fun fact that I wanted to share with you.
Well, it was so interesting because I know some people from London and that is mixed race. One is mixed race, matter of fact. And he was sharing that, yeah, they have all that going on. And there's a whole bunch of, that under that racism still that's going on, but they put on this face. So it's not as diverse as you think. We'll get to that too in a second.
Yeah,
but that's the truth. So
yeah,
to move the story back to us in radio. So I started because you did not know that I started. No, you're good. You're good. Just trying to get us,
I'm apologizing to the audience and letting them know that this is how we talk on a regular basis.
Oh, this is how it's gonna be. I mean, because it's just like I didn't know that how you didn't. First of all, I was just trying to like how you didn't know that I was a theater. I started U of H a theater major.
Well, there are many things that have gone on in my life where I may have forgotten certain things that I have that I no longer remember.
I understand. I take a lot of medicine and I spent 8 years in LA taking legal medicine. And so you know what I'm saying? Sometimes and life is busy. But anyway, started theater. And my parents was like, nah, it was a whole situation. And so what else could I do? I was a political science major for an actual semester. Do you remember
that
you
I
told me
remember.
that? Yeah, because
I
I was
remember.
working at the law school in the admissions office trying to learn about that. And then I was in the admissions and I was reading everybody's admissions packet. And I was like, oh, you can do anything if you go to law school because I was going to be a lawyer, a doctor, engineer. And then I was like, well, shoot, I'm going to learn about money. That's, if I'm not going to do theater, I'm going to learn about money. And that's how I got to finance. And then I was like, oh my God, I only like the 1st and the 15th when I was working at Shell. And then I heard the radio station. So I was there. Fast forward another year, then you were there. And I was like, who is this chick? Who this chick at? What's she doing? What's she trying to do? What's good? And I just admired your hustle. And I was like, okay. And you were working in all the different departments. And I was like, wow, she's dope.
Yeah, whenever I tell people about my time at the radio, they'd be like, what did you do? And I was like, I was the girl Friday. Like, I worked everywhere. I did everything. And I quickly, thankfully, because it was unpaid at first, I feel like people don't know about them unpaid internship type things. And it was so random how I ended up getting that job. Somebody saw me filling in for my sister-in-law and was like, oh, do you want to work at the radio station? Okay. So
your sister-in-law doing what? Because you know what? I didn't know. How did you get to the damn radio? I've never
that is hilarious.
I
So my brother's wife during college worked at a holistic healing clinic, and they had went to Jamaica, which I'm Jamaican. You know that
which is why you're Girl Friday.
Mm-hmm. Amen and amen. Okay. So anyway, so she was working at a holistic healing clinic, and it was small clinic, and they just needed somebody to fill in that they trusted. Mm-hmm. And so it was kind of like I was the obvious choice. And
it's a Jamaican girl. Horrible accent.
Exactly.
I know,
but it was terrible, but I'm gonna let you make it because most people on TV have terrible.
That was the Hollywood accents. One. Yeah, you're my Nigerian. Oh my gosh, we'll talk about auditions and stuff. I give them what they want. They want to sound like this, and so I give them the Nigerian like this because this is how they like it. And my mommy always says, "Nnete, I do not sound like that." And I'm like, I know, Mom.
That was gonna be my question. Was what does your mom think of this accent?
She's like, that's not how we sound. I'm like, I know. She's like, this just be ugh. But Hollywood, moving forward, you're in.
Long story short,
you fill in at the radio station. Who was it?
No, so I was filling in at the holistic healing clinic, and so one of the salespeople came in because she was a patient there. She's short hair. She was white lady. She had short, like reddish hair, very sweet, very nice. She was.
Is it Miss Cindy? Crazy loud, Miss Cindy.
I think so. One time, were you with us when we ended up going to some sort of concert and she like got a limo and stuff? Do you remember?
Loud Miss Cindy.
Okay, I loved her. She was so sweet.
So sweet, but like bright red hair. Cheeto red hair, loud. Thick,
yes.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Her and her friend, I think, there was another lady there with really long hair. They were really close, I feel like. They were the first people that told me about spin. I was like, what is spin? Like, y'all just be spinning in circles? Like, what is spin? So, but anyway.
Like spin class.
Yes,
like,
spin class on the bike, yes.
Just trying to make sure I ain't missing something. Like, okay, yeah, but what's spin? Spinderella?
No, I had never heard of it. I'm not going to tell y'all. But that was a long time ago.
That was a couple of years ago.
Yeah. So anyway, fast forward to I met with I don't even know if I called up there, applied or something like that. I was just interested because I wanted to go into being a lawyer. I knew I always wanted to be a lawyer, but I thought that I didn't know exactly what kind of lawyer I wanted to be. And I thought that the radio station seemed fun. I'm a hard worker in general. I said, why not go learn? And so that's how the radio station started. And I ended up falling into a wealth of knowledge and also meeting you. So that's how we met. I don't remember what we were doing, but I do remember that you were very kind and that you were quick to invite. You said, come up to the morning show and see what we're doing up here. And I was like, what time y'all get up?
Yeah. And I was like, I get up there like 3:45. I wake up at like 3:40. We got to be there about 4:15, 4:30. Because what's great, and I'm glad that you said that because it's like, I was like, you're trying to get my job, but come learn. Because, radio, a lot of things that I've done, and I'm like, why do I keep being attracted to these fields that are so male dominated? So I am always looking for the ladies that are, because it's like, I'm trying to build like my own group because the guys are going to stick together. I'm going to stick together. I'm like, okay, cool. We can learn together. We're not that different in age. You're already here and you're not working and this isn't your major. So that tells me your mindset and your hustle. hustle and your vision. Because I was like, okay, one day she over here in the sales office filing stuff. Then one day she be at the front desk. And one day I was like, you was doing some with promotion. I was like, oh, okay, who this? Who this?
And you need a hustle on your team, man. Everybody got one.
Real talk. If you ain't hustling, you're hurting. And we'll talk about that actually too. And pivots, right? So in our relationship at the radio station, it just developed, and then we became roommates when you could afford to live off of Washington in the Heights area back in the day, that a few years ago back in the day. Man.
Really be one. I really am wondering, like, how did this happen, y'all? I want to almost scream when I'm driving down the street, like, y'all didn't want this before. Why y'all?
They said, well, now I hear that because, by the way, we both do real estate. Vernique and I both do real estate because, who knows Houston better than two people that have been raised in Houston and on different sides of town. And you lived everywhere all over Houston.
I've lived everywhere in Houston, from the furthest north, the Woodlands, to the south. I grew up in Sugar Land. I've been everywhere. If you holler at me.
Well, I'm Southside till I die, you know what I'm saying? And I have been all around Houston, of course, through my years at the radio station, which really helped me love it more. And now that I'm back in Houston, which we'll get into that pivot too a little bit later, back in Houston, but also working in LA. And we'll get into all of that. I'm trying to have us focused, but we're going to be so many blessings of, like, it's all full circle. And that's why we wanted to do this podcast, but we just wanted to just kind of talk about how we met and how did we end up here. Because we, after that, was thick as thieves. And I'm Nigerian, you're Jamaican, the Nigerians, Jamaicans, we just click.
I would agree with that. And I think it took time. I will say that, because I feel like, if you talked about Nigerian Jamaicans, like back in the early 90s, it may, especially
me and you. I wasn't even talking his story. I was saying it and it sounded cute, but I was really just talking about me and you. Just I feel like I feel like we have always clicked, even when we disagree. We always can find a way to understand where each other is coming from, and we still don't have to agree. It's just like,
I feel what you're saying.
I feel. Oh, yeah. No. Vernique was the first one who started saying, "I received that." You're like, okay, I received that. I received that. So I'm like, okay, I received that. I love it.
You have logic and soundness behind your reasoning. Like, I don't disagree that you have found facts to back up why you feel the way you do. I just still disagree.
But I appreciate and I receive that over people saying respect. I respect your opinion, because if I don't agree, I don't necessarily respect it. But I receive it. To me, receiving it is more honest. Like, I think
that's fair. I think that is consistently fair versus I respect that, because I can still respect your opinion even if I don't agree. But there's sometimes I don't respect it. So receiving, I would agree, is consistent.
And you see, and that's the part that I'd be like, yo, like, a lot of people be trying to get away with, like, nah, you don't agree, but you can respect it. But I'm like, no, I don't agree and I don't respect it. That's the difference. There are times, like you said, where I disagree. And I still, like, I respect where you're coming from. I just don't see it that way. Yeah. But now, most of the time, as Vernique can share, when I don't agree and I don't respect it, like, it's all clear. They gonna know. Because I don't have a poker face, but I'm working on that. But it helps with auditions because I'm very expressive. So, hey, your gifts are your gifts. You know what I'm saying? Well, this podcast, why did we want to start the podcast, Vernique? Tell how the story came about.
So I was on the infamous Clubhouse, which we'll get into that another day, but I thought it was so great that there was some room that was talking about stuff. And I thought, oh, it's so fascinating to think about how people have pivoted during the pandemic. And so I was talking to Nnete. We were going out to have lunch.
No, we were at lunch.
Oh, we were at lunch.
And we weren't even going to have lunch because, of course, it's a pandemic. But it was beautiful that day. It was 4 p.m. The original location was closing that you suggested. We hadn't seen each other in a while. I was like, look, I'm open to my boundaries are outdoor patios.
Yes.
You found a spot. That's our new spot. Listen. I've been there 3 times since we've gone. To go, though. Yes, to go. We took it to go.
So jealous because I have been wanting. You're gonna have to tell me what you got, girl.
What?
I said, you're gonna have to tell me what you got, girl.
Okay, I can tell you, I got this last time. What did I get? I think I got the was it a brisket enchilada this time or something? Me and my brother and the brisket. What's it called? Candente.
Queso? Oh,
Yeah, yeah, Candente. Girl, now let them know we might get a sponsorship. Shoot,
man,
we shouting out everybody that we're at. Yeah, it was so good. Me and my brother went back. Girl, patio was a little bit too congested for me at that time, but when we went, it was perfect. It was like only three different groups of people on a wide patio.
right.
And you said the magic word about pivoting.
Yes. And so I think I talked to you about doing like we could do a room in Clubhouse called the pandemic pivot is kind of what I was talking about. And then it just kind of developed from there and we ran with it because it was
actually
what?
You said something about now, you were respecting our homegirl, our Panamanian sister. Zadia,
Yeah.
Fit, and you're saying, oh, the way she's pivoted and this and that. And I was like, oh, pivot. And you said something else about it. And we kept on talking. And I was like, man, the way people pivoted in the pandemic. But we were talking about Zaza, who we will have as a guest to talk about more because she's just amazing. She's just amazing.
Love her on many, many levels. And she's
so
done some amazing stuff.
So
like, especially, she was already doing amazing stuff, and then in the pandemic that's how it came about, is what I brought up, like how she's pivoted during this time and other people and stuff like that. So that's how it started. We were at lunch.
And when she said that, when Vernique said that, I was like, what you gonna do about that? Because I start asking I was like, oh, that sounds good. What you gonna do with that? Because I already knew that you were developing content and you have made your own pivot to, full-time entrepreneur, which you've really always been too. And I was like, and then it just kept on kicking me. And then like V was riding me around H-Town, showing me different areas of investments, places and stuff. And like Vernique, by the way, like if you used to listen to the Man Had a Morning Show and stuff, and we'd be like, little V, this is little V. Because I still be like V, Vernique, V Hutch, V. I have so many nicknames. It just depends on how I'm feeling at that time. TIV when it's going down, all kind of stuff that I call. But I just kept on coming like the pandemic pivot, the pivot. Well, what's she gonna do with that? Because she ain't gonna use it, man. I think I need to use. Then I was like, well, let me see if she want to do a podcast. Like my brain, like it would not leave me. It just would not leave me. And that's when I was like, well, hey, do you want to do a podcast? And I was like, because so many people have been. They say, why aren't you doing a podcast? People trying to get me to do podcasts for years now. I will say at first, not that I just didn't get it, but I was just tired. Radio broke my heart, which we'll talk about. I don't know how many different shows, like we're trying to focus. I was just tired. I was tired of everything that came with it. I'm never tired of connecting with people and talking to people because that's what I breathe for. Like I love having, I'm really qualified just to have a great ass conversation, which is what I'm doing now on another level, which I can't wait to share too. But it just took so long. And then it's like in LA, I started one a little bit, but it was just a lot going on, which y'all will learn. That's why we're pivoting here. And so when I thought about that, I was like, you know what? I feel safe with Vernique. And I feel like we have genuinely good conversations. And I mean, this is what I know how to do. I've been looking to get back into it. So, and just being a public figure again, you know what I mean? Because some of that, it's been a journey, and we're going to share all of those because everybody in life is always pivoting. You got to pivot. I have this has been in my head the whole time. Like I swerve. Like I just be like, okay, I've been just thinking of like little, theme songs and jingles and stuff. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like, but my heart is making my heart beat. And then also what really made me want to do it too is Vernique, you. You, Aaliyah, and Crystal with the Famillennial podcast. It's another podcast that V just launched. Please tell us more about it.
Famillennial podcast that Nnete helped put together and helped us get some tighten it up. So don't discount your blessings, I guess. Don't discount how you helped us out. But the Famillennial podcast is me, my great friend and sister Crystal Carter, and my great friend and sister Aaliyah Wilson, and we put together a podcast where we're basically talking about millennial family, life, friends. We just wanted to make sure that we were talking about that women are not just one thing. We're more than just a wife, more than just a mom, more than just, a sister. We want to talk about all those things. And we're going to talk about us and our perspective, our millennial perspective on things, and also have guests on from younger millennials to older millennials. Because if you're a millennial, you know that we are not all the same.
Yes.
So
It's complicated. Like, and working with y'all, and then like my new gig, which I'll share. I'm like, oh, you want to plan to do a big announcement and everything, but I'm so grateful to be like a producer for the Real Talk Show right now. Yes, that's I'm like, I don't know why I'm holding it. Well, I do know why I'm holding it. We'll get into all of that stuff too eventually. But yeah, I've been producing for the Real Talk Show. All right, TIV, like, life has just has changed in such a beautiful way and blossomed. And you think of all of those seeds you plant, you water it, you fertilize it, all these things you do, and it just pays off. And it was through another one of our sister friends who's also a Zeta Sigma Delta, Faith Deggans Ross, who the first couple I married, her and Mr. Arnold Ross, who's also over at the Real, that really was and living in LA. They're like my LA family. They're from Houston, my LA team. Like, we always pour into each other. And she was like, no, you can do this. And we were just pouring into each other. So I've been producing for the Real Talk Show since like November, and it has been amazing. And just, y'all know I want you to do talk TV. You know what I mean? Yes, I know. You and I will never party. It's all good. You can make sound, V. Like, you ain't gonna be quiet.
No, I was letting you go, girl, because I was like, but I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. I'm just saying about how like iron sharpens iron, and like we're all pouring into each other. So Faith pouring into me, that got me excited. And then when Vernique, told me that her, Crystal, and Aaliyah were doing the Family podcast, I got excited because I love all three of them. Like, V's here now. Like, I love Crystal. I love Aaliyah. They're three uniquely different Black women. I mean, just across the board spectrum. And I just remember when the first time V told me about it, I was like, oh my God, that's going to be really, really good. And it's needed. And it's a piece that's not here right now. Like, this is needed. People need to hear your thought, because I think that we always get the extremes, and the extremes always get the most attention. But then I said, it's also like people like V, Aaliyah, Crystal, myself, they're like, okay, we're dope, but we're not putting it out there. So, okay, let's put it out there. So just, thinking of them and all the things that they can do and how they're so different and varied in their opinions over the years I've known them got me excited. Then plus, producing and, being around idea generators, like, it's like my mind just work. Like, I've had years of ideas in my note section. And now it's like, and I've done some here and there and blah, 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 but now it's really moving. And actually the beginning of last year, another dope sister, Dicey, Kim, Dicey, she's a comedian, dope. You've seen her on Revolt, Funny AFA, show, which we do cuss on this one. I just, trying to start off good.
We're gonna save the curse first for when they really mean something.
Yeah, that's the goal. Like, use your words, Tay. Use your higher self. Let's go with your higher self. So just between Kim and Faith and all the other amazing creatives in LA pouring into me, helping me move this and that. And like, I'm working on my one woman show, What's Been Eating Me. And that's what started off even last year, like, applying for the Hollywood Fringe Festival, which got postponed again to August because of COVID and the pandemic and everything. But just Kim and I were meeting virtually.
Right.
She was in Dallas doing all the dope things, the many dope things that she does. Like, she's just, between you and Kim, Vernique, y'all can do everything. Which, by the way, Faith said, and I forgot to tell you, I've been forgetting to tell you this for a couple weeks. Faith was like, oh my God, I love everything that Vernique is sharing online. She did her nails, she did this and that. She's like, you know what? It made me say, I get why Nnete loves Vernique. Not that she didn't love you before or nothing, but she was like, I get it. I said, yeah, Vernique can do everything too. And she was like, she just like Kim. I said, yes. Like, always, she had a creative lawyer chick business for a while. She had Curated. I worked for Curated for a day, for 4 hours.
But I tell people, I was like, I've been starting businesses since I was 12. This ain't, I'm not new to this. I'm true to this. So like, I think, but I don't think I really realized it, that I had been doing that until I said it to somebody, because it's the truth. That's the truth. I had been given like a project in middle school, and then from the project I created a magazine, and then I was like, this magazine is good, girl. And then my mom took me to go get a DBA, and that was the start of me. I am always coming up with ideas, and I think that the difference is that people come up with lots of ideas, right? We come up with ideas all the time, but for whatever reason, they're not executed.
The only reason is fear. You can look at it a million different ways, and because I've thought of it a million different ways because I think a lot. And when it comes down to the nitty gritty in between the itty bitties and all that stuff, it's fear.
I'm glad you said that, because that makes me actually go to one of the other points that we wanted to talk about, is like why we want what we want.
Mm-hmm.
So, some of the ideas I come up with, it ain't for me. I'm like, you want this? Because I ain't gonna do nothing with it, but I think it's a great idea,
Mm-hmm.
But I think that, like, for example, a lot of people talk about like they want money, or if they're looking for like a man, like they want this certain man and looks a certain way and does X, Y, and Z. Or if they're looking for a woman, she got to fall into X category. If they're looking for a job, they got to fall into this category. But it's like, why do you want a job where you can work from home, before the pandemic? It's because you want freedom. It's because you want to make sure you can set up your day how you want it to go. Why do you want money as a way to why do you want money? For example,
mine is always freedom. Mine has always been freedom. Mine has always been the FU fund, standing for freedom. I make my own schedule. I do what I want to do. I come and go. And it takes a lot of responsibility in planning for freedom. And you did say that, and that was dope. But can I add something else that you said? You said that to make a list of why you want what you want. Okay, when y'all make these lists, especially for relationships, make sure you go back and read them. When you just go back and read them. Just go back and
especially
read
when
the
you get with them.
entire list from top to bottom, and be honest as you check off the things on the list. That's it. Because I would always tell this story about this list I made, and that'll be the other pivot. And I mean, that Vernique made me. We're gonna say that for the relationship show. We're gonna say that one for that, because it was so good. And then I was like, damn, I forgot to look back at that list in the middle of a lot of okay.
Yeah, and you see, because people because they get excited.
Mm-hmm.
You're not the only one, homegirl. You think because I too have made lists that I did not refer back to while in the midst. Yeah. While in the midst of something. So this ain't no, and I'll say this, that I did not learn this on my own. This is definitely, I am definitely the person that whenever I'm in a big transition, I seek out spiritual assistance, I guess is the easiest way to say, or some sort of assistance to kind of guide me through it. And I had a life coach at one point, and she told me that, and I was like, girl, I mean, that makes perfect sense. Why do you want the things that you want? Do you want them because society told you, or do you want them because you want it? What is the reason in which you want to choose these things about your life? So I think that all talks about why we pivot, right? Why we pivot, because once we get to why we pivoted in the pandemic, that is based off of why I wanted based off of what I wanted my life to look like, and then it fueled the decisions that I made to change it to the exact life that I'm living right now. And when I tell you, I feel blessed.
So blessed. Oh man, I ain't had a good time. Well, I don't know. I ain't figured out all the copyright stuff. On the radio, you can sing everything because everything is included in that. So I ain't trying to sing nothing that's going to keep us from getting monetized, because we going to get monetized, and we going to have a whole bunch of stuff and plan. Like, I mean, I have so many notes that I haven't even thoughts and ideas that we need to meet about, because I was like, oh, I just see the whole vision, and I'm so excited that we're doing it together, and we have such a tribe of dope people. And as you said, why do you want what you want? Because I know some people who don't know what they want, but they're yearning or this and that. And I've always known what I wanted. I'm lucky at that. I've always known what I wanted, but people want to take the safe route. My parents did a lot to immigrate into America. They just, really your parents and everybody just want you to be stable and want you to be safe. Yes. And so with their own best understanding from their perspective, they think safe and stable looks a certain way. And you have to say, well, what is safe and stable? And what does that look like for me? How much uncertainty am I comfortable with? What am I longing for? Because I've always known, and I've fought myself. And this takes to the book that I used to read every year. I would start the year off reading The Alchemist. After years of being like, I think it took me, actually, the first time I heard about The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho, actually DMX told me, yes, Mr. Earl Simmons, yeah, DMX, X-Men, Darkman X. I love DMX. I got to find that prayer he did for me. I was like, you better come on and pray, DMX. Just a wealth of knowledge. Like, I love it. He was like, nah, you need to read The Alchemist, yo. It's good. Like, if you believe people when they tell you that you're everything, you'll believe them when they tell you you're nothing. You got to trust yourself. But really, it's just little nuggets. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. All right, I'll read it. And then other coworkers was like, you need to read the book. Like, you need to read the book. And then one of my coworkers finally just brought the book and gave it, like, just read the book. And I was like, and this was a few years ago, you know, when audiobooks weren't as big as they are now.
Oh my gosh. Do you probably on the iPod, somebody gave us the iPod version of of a bunch of books. Do you not remember?
Oh yeah,
that?
I have all of girl, I still have
okay.
them all. I have all of them, you know,
Yes.
all of them. But I actually first read the physical book.
Yes.
Like
yes.
I have like probably 2 copies of the physical book.
Mm-hmm.
And I read it, and it probably took me even after that, like so probably like 2.5 years after. And I'm a big reader, you know. You're a big reader too. At least you used to be. Do you still read a lot too?
Oh yeah, girl. Let me tell you something. Reading
Books.
has gotten me through.
Go ahead. I'm
Books
sorry.
now what? Now
I would
people.
say books, not blogs. I'm talking about books.
I don't even read blogs. No, I read books.
Respect.
No, I have
No
read
shade to people that like blogs, but just saying books.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No. I read a ton of books. That's why I keep telling people, I was like, the books got me through the pandemic, because it's like certain things that I just you know, whether or not it be, you know, a novel to kind of, you know, June was rough. So, you know, I would turn to books to take my mind off of it. But I have authors that I love that I will just, you know, as soon as they come out with something, I will pre-order it, you know, to make sure that I have it. I read so many, I consume a lot of information.
And actually, my bad on that shade, because when I had Nnete's book break, you would be telling me books to read all the time. Like it's, you know, it's that time in LA where I had a lot of legal medicine. So the memory is coming. It's coming back. And then we haven't spent this much time like just together on a continuous basis. You know what I mean? Life, we all grown, we moving. So I was like, actually, you do read. You would always give me great suggestions. You would always, what's so funny is like sometimes I explain my relationship with V to people like Oprah and Gail. And to me, Gail has more fun. Because Gail in them streets, Gail know everything that's going on.
Yes.
Oprah, who I love and adore as well too, she's in her head, she's in the garden, which is where I started my morning, outside in the backyard, just working because I'm building a garden for my mom and all that kind of stuff, just in nature. And I'm like, man, I love Oprah. And I want to be more Gail too, because I want to be a balance between the two. But I think their dynamic is so dope. And so like Gail be on the pulse of everything. And that's how I think of you all the time. And I'm like, that's the part I admire. I'm like, you got to be more in the pulse. But I think also because, I mean, when you talk for a living, you want to be quiet later on. So I think, you know, it's that balance of like, you know, I used to talk literally 5 hours a day.
Right.
5 days a week. Then I did my shows on the weekend. So it was like, yo.
I'm talking all the time, the time.
So
what did you find, like what resonated with you with The Alchemist when you first read it, if you remember? And then what do you feel like as far as the last time you've read it, what have you gathered from it this most recent time?
Well, every time I read The Alchemist, it's a different part of the journey. So basically, The Alchemist is where a young man is on the search for his personal legend. And what is that? What is he longing for? And the journey to it, the roads, the pivots along the way. Do you get back on course? But I remember, and which I just reread it because we were just talking about this, and I said, "Oh, we need to talk about this on the pivot point because this is good." Because I used to read, and I realized I hadn't read it in probably like 2 years.
The reason why you realize it is because you told me to read it this year.
You know what they say? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So no, you told me to read it because I haven't read it in a long time because I read a ton of books. And so I was like, I have it on my bookshelf. I just hadn't cracked it in a minute. I don't even think I've actually read the one I had. Like, I don't think I had actually read that one. I may have just like, oh, let me buy another one to make sure it's on my bookshelf. Yeah. And so when Nnete mentioned it, I think it was the same day we talked about the pivot point. And
actually, I think it was.
And I read it probably a couple weeks ago, and it was confirmation. It was the whole journey for me of the young man was a confirmation that I know I made the right decision in the most recent pivot that I have done. So I it's one of those that I think it's a good read. It's short, it's quick, but it's impactful.
Absolutely. And to answer your question, yes, like the thing that I remembered the most from the first time, because I've had businesses as well too. I had Strut plus size boutique style. Well, originally it's Strut style without limits, because I hate saying plus size and all this other stuff. It's just style without limits, which made me realize that my limit is I don't want to run a retail store. I just want to look cute and help other people look cute, but I ain't trying to just run a store, manage people. But one of the things that The Alchemist point out, because I reread it, which now I do audiobooks since I moved to LA, like, because that traffic, baby, let me tell you, you got to figure out something to do. So I started listening to audiobooks and podcasts. And so now I just listen to audiobooks, and you can get a digital library card because I just reserve everything on my digital library card. And so I always have I'm always on waiting lists for new books, which on the waiting, well, we'll talk about that later, but just to focus, because we can just talk forever, and it's just so good seeing your face.
I know, right?
Yeah, I feel like,
because we will hit up a text and we'll get on the phone, but it's it's a different situation when we can like actually see each other and speak to one another and see it, because we're both expressive.
Very much so, as y'all can see. For those that are watching us, the couple things that point out, because I just listened to it again and it was like, whew, yes, do what you need to do, girl. It's like, yes, you said the pivots are right, but also whatever it is that you want to do, the whole world is conspiring in your favor. Like, it's all in your favor. This fear is like, it's everything's gonna work out for you, because it, like, that's what I'm with, to me, and this is a curse word that's worth it, a mind fuck.
Yes.
You are what you believe. You're right either way. And so in your mind is like, you are not your thoughts. You're the person witnessing your thoughts, and your thoughts run amok. Your mind will lie to you. Things are illusions. Perception is not always reality. So whatever you believe is true. So like, you really have all the power. So when you hear like, wait, the whole world is conspiring in your favor, like, if you believe that, then you're going to see everything like that with that energy. And it's something that, what I think is very important to who is around you, that you got to have people around you that believe that live that.
I would agree with that. And also, it's one of those things where you said, if you believe it, that's what you'll see. It's the same thing. Like, if I tell you today, go look out for some yellow cars, every car is going to be yellow. Most definitely. And I think that, it's good to have people around you that believe it, but you most definitely got to believe it yourself. You know what I'm saying? And then even if they don't, here's the thing, that even if you have people on who don't necessarily are fully committed to it, because you mentioned parents and wanting stability for you, they will share things with you that they think are putting you in that stable perspective. That actually, on the flip side, helps you confirm.
It's their fear, because they're projecting your fear. So what I was saying is, just to clarify, because I agree with you, because we resonate in the same way, is that you need to be around people who have the same perspective, as in whatever you individually want to do, the world is going to help you do that thing, not what they think they want you to do, but just having that type of mindset, which is the biggest thing for me now with whomever I'm around, because I think that was one of the big things that I was lacking in LA. And I remember my boy Herm Charles, choreographer, dancer. I remember when he came out there one of the times, and he was working with Normani, and we were just hanging out and stuff. He was like, yo, you're missing your support circle. He said you got to find your support circle again, because you're missing that. And it's so true, because since I've been back here in Houston, I'm like, shoot, I'm just empowered. I feel like I'm good, because I have my circle and I have my team, and I have my girls. And so no matter where I live, or whenever I do go back, or whatever happens with this whole pandemic, don't look like that, because whenever I go back, is that why you was looking like that, or would you look like that?
No, you good. Okay. I heard a noise and I was like, what is that noise?
Oh, that would be my iMessages that are coming in right now ferociously.
I literally was like, what's going on? Okay, sorry.
So that means I know that also happened in on this other podcast I just did. I don't know how to fix it. Y'all, I would have went from a MacBook to a PC, back to a MacBook, Android. Like, my brain...
We'll figure it out. They be all right.
We getting it together. Y'all know what that is. That means business deals are happening, which truly is happening. One of my buyer just landed from Florida into Houston, and she's meeting up with my buyer part. Yeah, it's
money making moves. Money making moves.
Okay. I was just listening to Megan Thee Stallion's NPR before here. So I'm like, you say it's all about money. Yeah. I was like, yeah, ready to go.
So make him spell my name. No. Okay.
Okay. He tell me my secrets. He tell me his secrets. I try to forget it. I'll be like, girl, they trying to dump all that stuff on
Houston,
you,
Houston,
H-Town. I love it. All right, because I know we're gonna have to wind up soon, and like we didn't even get to everything. That's how I know this is good, because we're never gonna run out of things to talk about. But I do think, do you want to wrap it? Do you want to keep on going, or do you?
We got some time. We got a little bit of time.
Okay, we got maybe like 10 more minutes or so.
Yeah.
Okay, 10 more minutes. I want to go down to, so y'all pick up The Alchemist. That's the point. Like, pick up The Alchemist. Start. We need to start a book club, Vernique, and just
Down
read
with
through.
it. You know I'm down with it.
Yes, let's do a book club
And
and go ahead.
To be honest, like if you decided to watch the pivot point, you probably are in a place where you are thinking about a pivot.
Yes.
And if that's the case, then The Alchemist is going to put you right in that mode to to listen to your gut. I'm big on listening to your gut. Your gut is not lying to you. Your heart is not lying to you. The thing that you have been thinking about all your life, that is true. That's what you're supposed to go after. Don't be afraid. Don't be scared, because it's gonna you're going to get it. It's going to happen. I literally just sent. Sorry, Tay, go ahead.
No. Go for it.
I had a good girlfriend had her birthday last week, her 40th birthday, and I went on ahead and sent that Alchemist, and she said, "Thank you for my copy of The Alchemist. I need to read it again." And then I posted something on Instagram. She said, "Stop screaming at me," and I was like, "Yeah, you I'm talking to. You know exactly where you at, homegirl. Yeah. So it's time."
Yeah, put nudge in it. Nudging. Well, I mean, your soul is nudging you, and your body, like that's where I just get so frustrated with myself at times, is because I know what I want. I know what's best for me. And then I think, and when you're younger, when I was just a baby, but when you're younger, it's like, you have more cahoots, you have more, this and that. And then life, life happens, you get your ups and downs, you have things that break your heart. You're like, okay, I love this, but I know all of this came with this, because this is the what I want to do. But all that other stuff around it, I'm good. Yeah,
that's
not
like
worth it. Still
like
in my
kids
joy.
want to be adults.
You said what?
Like kids wanting to be adults.
I'd be like, and then they realize, oh shit, I got this is adulting. Yeah. Okay, adulting, figure it out, get it done. You know what I mean? And so it's just a good, I think it's just a good starting place. And yeah, I think we should do that actually, because I mean, I'm reading and listening to them all the time. Me and my girl Faith, that's all we talk about. Our different books too. That's our thing as well. And just learning, exploring. And I just remembered what I was gonna say, because I was rambling, but not really. What you were saying about why are you screaming at you, or like everything you're going to be scared, or whatever you're scared to do. That was one of the podcasts that I used to listen to all the time in LA. It's called Do It Scared.
Oh yeah.
Do It Scared. And there's one that says don't keep your day job. And these two podcasts, those women had different life experience. They're white women, you know what I mean? And I'm like, man, And I'm like, I mean, it's just the audacity of hope too. Like, of like, wait, no, I'm going to do this, and this is what's going to happen. And that's just the same thing as The Alchemist. The world is going to help me out, because this is what I want, and I'm going to do what I need to do to get what I want. And I needed to have those voices in me, because, out in LA, you got a lot of artists and a lot of people a lot of dreamers that are striving. And in the midst of striving, you're trying to, pay bills and live life and build a life. And so it's a lot of broken spirits, and it's hard to be the light at all times. And sometimes, like, for real, they always say light overcomes darkness, but not all the time. If you're the only light and it's a lot of dark around you, and that's what I mean about like having people around you that have that mindset that can keep you focused, and that these are the people that you are talking to the most, spending the most time in your life around. Because once I reconnected to them people, like boom, like I was like, well, damn.
That makes sense. That makes total sense, because 10% can't outshine 90%.
You're not gonna do it,
no matter how hard you try.
No matter how hard you try, how much you love them, how much you appreciate them, how much you don't want to leave people behind, no matter how much you see the light and joy in their potential and their this and that, man, you better put all that up on you.
It's wild. But I will say, this is one thing I want to add to the whole journey thing, is that make sure that you're doing the journey that you want to do, and not what you feel like you have been called to do based on circumstances surrounding you. Because this isn't an Alchemist, but
actually that point is
it is okay,
that point is, because I just listened to it again, the point, and then you tell your story, because also one of the biggest lies in the world, and I'm misquoting it. The biggest lie is that at one point in your life, at some point in your life, you are no longer in control of your life, and you have to succumb to fate. No, you are always in control of your life. You are always the driver.
Yes.
And no, I'm gonna give y'all an Oprah video later, but go ahead with your story, girl.
No, I mean that was it. That's all I wanted to say, is that you do it because you want to, not because you've been, the circumstances. I always say people doing it for the gram, or whatever the case may be, y'all stunting for the gram. Like, what are you doing because you want to do it? Are you on, TV? Are you doing whatever it is that you're doing because you actually want to do it? Or are you doing it because you want people to give you certain things, or it comes out a certain way? Like, what is the driver of your desire? That's all.
I feel that, and just to drill it down, to even make it more than just stunting for the gram, for your parents.
Yes,
for your siblings, for what you think that you are responsible for what you think people's expectations are. Because let me tell you, when I quit Shell, making a lot of money at that time as an intern at 21, a few years ago, to work for free, as my parents said, to volunteer, because I was like, no, I'm an intern. They're like, girl, you are a volunteer. It just did not make sense. They were like, what's going on? I'm like, no, I got this vision because this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to get back, pivot back to what I want to do, because it was a point, I went through a lot. I lost my sister right after graduating high school. Then I went to college because my mama filled out my college application.
Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah, because I wanted to take a year off. I was like, I just need to breathe. She said, oh no, you don't. You will go to school. Everybody goes to school. I will go to work. She hates it. Oh yeah. She's going to be like, just stop doing this. Like for auditions, I'll be like, mama, say this. So I can say it after you. I actually took Nigerian accent classes in LA. Actually not classes, but I had another Nigerian who had lived there. I was like, girl, look, I pay you some money. I'm about to do this audition, but then did a whole short film off of that.
Amen.
I was like, like, yes, use your resources. Okay.
Best investment is in yourself.
Greatest love of all.
Yeah.
Yes, learning to love yourself.
I call societal pressures. Society will pressure you. We can do a whole show on societal pressures. So we'll get there.
And we'll absolutely get there. I want to say, like, I think we should save the rest of our topics for the next conversation, because I think this is just a good, like, hey y'all, this is Nnete and V.
Yeah, I'm down with it. Well, I'm good. I feel like this is a great intro episode. People know who we are. They know our relationship.
Yeah.
So I'm happy.
And can I say this, like, y'all, this last week, I had every excuse. Or in the words of Ike Turner, you got more excuses than Nick on jail. You know what I'm saying? I had every excuse in my head to not sit down and do this. And not to do it. I mean, excuses are plentiful. You know what I mean? Like, just so many other things that are going on in life that we'll share, because we're going to be sharing our lives with you. You know what I mean?
They're also tools of incompetence.
Tools, which, yes. So, because I know that, and because I'm with iron that sharpens iron, and, young V, like, look, you're going to feel way better when you put yourself first and record this. And because I was like, no, let's push to March when we're in hiatus and this and that. And she's like, and that is going to give you the energy to carry your everything through. And boy, you ain't never lie on that one, young B.
You feel good, don't you?
I feel great. Good. I'm like, because I realized too, another reason why I was struggling with experiencing depression, because I'm not depressed and I wasn't struggling with it, but I was experiencing it, was because, I went from talking how long? 5 hours a day, 5 days a week, plus the weekends, to not doing that anymore. Wow. Like, and that was such a big part of my life, starting with Southern hip hop, which is hella aggressive, more money moves coming in, ignore the, which I will create that, stop doing that distraction. I'll put it on mute next time. I just don't know how to do all of that.
Well,
I just learned how to get the text messages on my computer like a week ago. So, it's a lot. Okay. I'm doing my best, but just thank you, You laughing because that was a real moment, huh?
I'm laughing about how you said I'm doing my best, because the accent is people who probably created that statement. So,
Oh, absolutely. Well, but I was referring to Dom Miguel Ruiz and the Four Agreements. Always do your
another
best.
Amazing book.
Another amazing book. That's what I'm talking about. We're gonna do a book club. We gotta do it. Go for it. Say what you're gonna say. I'm sorry.
Because it was the Alchemist, the Four Agreements, and the Game of Life and How to Play is my favorite book. I listen to that all the time. But anyway.
Yeah. So, yes. Likewise. And putting out your intentions and saying things and like even okay. Yeah. I'm So
we'll get there, guys.
No, we'll get there. But I said that because excuses are tools of incompetence, and they're used to build monuments of nothingness. And with the 4 agreements, like, look, hold on, watch, hold on. Let me take a little sip of this coffee real quick.
Oh, she going to church. Oh, she's gonna give us. Okay, preach your time. Okay.
Well, I mean, when you look at it, you know what I mean? The pivot point, you know, and it's talking about the alchemist and following your personal legend and everything. With the 4 agreements, which is one is to, which I always forget the first one is, but the last one that I just mentioned, because I always forget the first one because, you know, LA, 8 years of legal medicine that's natural from the earth, that is going to get legalized in Texas soon. So we need to get some businesses, and I already know 3 or 4 people that want to pull together. So let's pull and let's build together, y'all.
You know that, so, you know, I've been watching it, right?
Oh,
you know, I watch all the laws,
and I have cultivators that are ready to go that have been practicing in legal states for for a while now. So we got to get that together. But
be impeccable with your word is the
be impeccable with your word, and then don't take anything personal, and then don't make assumptions. And then the last one is always do your best. And guess what? Your best is going to change on any given day. If you're sick, if you're not sick, if you know what's going on in your life. So when I'm like, yo, I did my best. And today, and so now that's something that I say to myself all the time. Are you doing your best? Right now is my best. Like normally, old Tay would have been like, oh, we cannot do this because we got this little chirp thing going in here. And I mean, shout out to my girl Zay. I did watch the little dude again, you know, to get this go. Like it was just so many other factors that made me, you know, excuses, which are tools of incompetence to build bridges of nothingness. But I was like, are you doing your best right now? This is the best. This right now, this is the best.
And done is better than perfect.
Go ahead.
That's a good way to end it. You know, shoot.
I would drop the mic, but I literally just got it yesterday because I was on some. So yeah, we just put something in there if we get time, because we might, and that might be the best. Is that was the mic drop that you got to see, and that's it. You know what I mean? Well, I'm so grateful. I mean, I'm excited about this new venture, the Pivot Point. We're gonna put all of our details in the description boxes. You'll know where to find us, social media, all that, and you know, because right now this is my best, and I'll give you.
We'll get to it.
We're gonna get to it, and then we're in progress and we're growing. And you know, we 2 ladies that be handling business, so you know,
it gets believe it gets done.
It gets done. But I do know this much: you need to share this. You need to talk to your friends, because if you want to, you know, just have. I mean, I hate when people look. If you say real talk, then I won't trust you. But it is real talk. This is real. I mean, this is like just those honest conversations. It's not gonna be the extremes. You know what I'm saying? No twerking today. But, you know, it might be on another day. You know what I'm saying? Like only one curse word today, but there might be more another day. It just depends the situation. But this feels so good. And I'm so glad we're doing this. Shouts out to was it El Candente or Candente? Did I just add an L to the front?
You might I don't matter. But just know that
I don't matter.
No,
I don't matter.
L don't. I said it don't matter.
I know, my bad.
L don't matter.
It don't.
No, Candente, I think, is the restaurant. Oh, it was good because I mean that was what sparked this, and they have good margaritas. Oh my goodness,
yes. And what also sparked it too is, again, you know, the real estate. He was like, "No, I need to drive you around Houston because I have these visions for these different areas of land, and let's just meet together. Let's take a breather." You know what I mean? Because we didn't get to really hang out, which my dope photo shoot that M. Francis Creative did, the one that y'all all seen, that looks really dope everywhere, that everybody keeps on. You know, oh my gosh, everybody's like, "Oh, that's fire, that's fire." I was like, yes, my brother-in-law did it.
Yeah. So M. Francis Creative is Mark Francis, who is also the love of my life and my husband. He's an amazing photographer. But yeah, Tay's photos look hot.
Yes. So we didn't get to even really kick it that day, you know? We were like, no, we need to meet up and just kind of talk and And look what happened. You know what I'm saying?
Here we are. I'm excited. It wasn't a full twerk. It wasn't a full twerk.
But it was like a, you know.
We have danced now. Both you and I have both danced on this podcast today. So we have given them a little something.
A little something. All right. Well, I appreciate it. Until next time.
Thank y'all for listening.
Yes, and watching. We appreciate you.
See y'all next time.
All right, I don't know how to say bye, so we're just gonna stop recording and we're just gonna push stop record.
I don't know how to stop.
Until we get, this is our best. This is it.
That was good. That was good.
I hadn't stopped recording. Oh, wait. Shoot.